Government of India's figure is 166,344 farmers. Now, it's interesting if we break it up, as the policy prescriptions get entrenched. Let's break up these 10 years into two bits of 5 years each. 97 to 2001, 2001 to 2006, okay? What does it show? It shows that in the second half, there's a huge jump in the number of suicides. In the second half, I mean, it's not 80,000, 80,000. It's 70,000 and about 90,000. Okay? Something like that, roughly. And in the second half, from 2002, on average, one farmer's suicide occurs every 30 minutes. Yeah. One every 30 minutes. Yeah. You take 87,000, divide by 5 years, you'll get the figure you said. Where do these numbers come from? They come from the National Crime Records Bureau, Government of India, Ministry of Home. In India, suicide statistics are gathered by the Crime Records Bureau. It's a crime. You commit suicide and we'll teach you never to do it again. So, yeah. Now, it's also astonishing that in this period of enormous distress and chaos in the countryside, and please note that it's as true of the Wall Street debacle also, one set of companies didn't do very badly. Food companies. They haven't done all that bad. At the time of the maximum distress in India, in the Indian countryside, the seed companies, the agricultural input companies made a killing, literally and figuratively and financially. Okay? If you look at, remember the time, people have, because of the meltdown, people have forgotten that in April, May, June this year, for the first time in living memory, middle classes in Western countries were worried about food prices. That's when George W. made his famous pronouncement on India and China. Right? At the time that you guys were getting worried about the food prices on your shelves, Archer Daniels Midland reported a record third quarter profit of 42%. Index funds dealing with agriculture, BlackRock, all of them posted huge profits. Vertical and horizontal integration are taking place. The same bunch of companies are buying everything from land and water to seed companies. Then two companies get together spawn a third company which creates fertilizer, which is what Mosaic is. It's a company created by two giant grain traders, and it starts becoming. So you're having vertical and horizontal integration at the same time. These index funds are buying up and investing in a fleet of barges for distribution of fertilizer. You see, one thing, it's a very, as Wall Street collapsed, you had one guy called Jim Rogers of Rogers Holdings Associates. He's always been making this very valid point. I have to say that his analysis is correct. He keeps telling people, you want to make money? Put it in food, put it in agriculture. That's where it is. Don't put it in these stupid, trashy bonds and shares. Jim Rogers has been giving this advice. You can go to the net and look at Rogers Holdings. He's been repeatedly saying it because he understands that if the world has to live without petrol, it will. We'll live some 200,000 years without it. But nobody's going to live without food and water. So agriculture is where the action is. Water is where the action is. Land is where the action is. And all these things, all those processes mean the policies that packages that I put out. India is today in the midst of the greatest agrarian crisis in our history since the eve of the Green Revolution. Biggest displacement in our history. The growth of agriculture in the dynamic years of the reforms is less than half of what it was in the stagnant 80s, okay, when it was 3.54%. Yeah, when did you cross 1.5% here? I'm not measuring by quarters. I'm talking about annual average growth rate of food production. For the first time in decades, in this decade, from let's say from 98, 99, for the first time in decades, growth rate of food production in India has fallen behind the growth rate of population. This was never the case in the 80s. It's fallen behind the growth rate of population when the growth rate of population is declining. Okay? When the growth rate of population is declining, it's fallen behind. That is an unsustainable, explosive situation which exploded in April, May, June. when you were near food riots in some places over the price issue. Meanwhile, high price volatility. Oh, remember, what does a farmer earn? What does a farmer earn? What is the consumer expenditure of the farmer? Remember the 51 guys who account for 31% of the GDP equivalent? The average monthly consumer expenditure of the farm household per individual is 503 rupees. That's $10. National Sample Survey Situational Assessment of Farmers Report. $10. Out of that $10, 60% goes directly on food. Yeah, because most Indian farmers are net purchasers of food grain. Their holdings do not support the family's diet. So over and above that, they have to buy apart from what they produce. So you have one end of the spectrum, guys earning $700,000 a minute. Another end of the spectrum, farmers, landowners whose monthly per capita expenditure is 503 rupees according to the government of India. Cultivation costs are soaring, and that's why the corporations and companies come in. Corporate farming does not exist in India in the way it does in the United States. Corporates do not do day-to-day agricultural operations because they can't own land in most states of the country. But in every other sector has been sown up. Seeds, pesticides. Now, for instance, if you were growing cotton, India and USA are rivals in the cotton trade. Cotton and coffee are the biggest non-edible, directly non-edible commodities in trade in the agriculture sector. If you were growing cotton in India in Vidarbha in 1991, 1 kilogram of seeds cost you 7 rupees. By the time Monsanto had done with us and brought its BT cotton, 450 grams packet was costing 1,800 rupees. That's $40. That's $35 now. Okay? So you're looking at seed costs going up. I'm not even getting into the science of whether it's good or bad, but you're seeing the multiplication in the input cost. Then, a particular agriculture minister in the state of Andhra Pradesh took Monsanto to court. He took Monsanto to court and said, this is a rip-off, it doesn't cost this much, these guys are racketeers. Monsanto challenged the minister. Before the first hearing in the court, Monsanto's price mysteriously dropped from 1,650 and 1,800 rupees a bag to 925 rupees a bag. And it was still obviously making profits at the price. Bang! Now it's 725 rupees a bag. It turned out that the royalty being made per bag of 450 grams was between 1,200 and 1,400 rupees. Per bag. Go and ask your farmers what they pay for a bag of 450 grams of seeds. Meanwhile, corporate power meant that all agreements and standards in agriculture could be rewritten to suit the corporations. What? I'm sure, have many of you seen a bag of seed? On the back of every bag of seed, you'll find a stamp. Minimum germination rate. It guarantees 90% of the seed. 100% of seed in a bag can never work because they don't work in nature in 100%. So you give a standard, 85%, 90% germination rate, and that much of the seed is guaranteed to work.